Hugo Chavez burst into Venezuelan politics in dramatic fashion. In February of 1992, then Lieutenant Colonel Chavez led a failed coup attempt against Venezuelan President Carlos Andrés Pérez. Chavez, the son of school teachers, surrendered and assumed responsibility for the coup.
Comrades, unfortunately for now, our objectives in the capital were not reached. We in Caracas were unable to take power.
After being released from prison 2 years later, Chavez formed the Fifth Republic Movement, a political opposition group. He ran for president in 1998, campaigning as the candidate of the people and promising to fight for Venezuela's poor. And at the age of 44, Chavez was elected as the youngest president in Venezuelan history.
We have never entertained even the slightest idea of a dictatorship. No, we are guerrillas. We are not tyrants. We are Democrats, and we will now demonstrate.
Within months, he would put a new draft constitution to a popular vote, one that would consolidate his power. The people of Venezuela voted yes, and Chavez was re-elected to the presidency for a 6-year term. But his populism was at odds with sound economics. In April of 2002, demonstrations broke out amid a general strike. Chavez was briefly forced to resign, but returned to the presidency just within 2 days, later blaming the United States for conspiring against him. Chavez develops a doctrine he calls 21st century socialism. He developed a close relationship with Cuba's Fidel Castro. Cheap Venezuelan oil flowed to other Latin American countries with leftist presidents.
Ayer estuvo el diablo aquí.
In September of 2006, at a speech in the United Nations, he calls then U.S. President George Bush the devil.
Ya no huele a azufre aquí.
It doesn't smell of sulfur here anymore.
Ya no huele a azufre.
It doesn't smell of sulfur.
And 3 months later, a sea of red propels Chavez to a second full term as president. His bedrock of support among the poor as strong as ever, and his taste for power undimmed. The National Assembly approved his proposal to rule by decree. He announced that Venezuela would pull out of both the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And his government took control of the last remaining privately run oil fields. Ostracized by the West, Chavez cultivated a resistance front, getting closer to leaders like Mahmoud Ahmadinejad of Iran and buying advanced weaponry from Russia. In June of 2011, he underwent surgery for a pelvic abscess in Cuba. Returning a month later to Venezuela, Chavez admitted that a cancerous tumor had been removed, but vowed to win the battle for life. "This is a new battle," he said, "a new battle. I have never been so motivated about winning a battle." The Venezuelan opposition raises questions about whether President Chavez is fit to rule, especially after he undergoes a second surgery. But he declares himself cancer-free in July of 2012 and sails to victory at the polls in October, winning the election with 55% of the vote and the right to govern Venezuela for another 6 years. He shocked Venezuelans again in early December when he publicly declared his bout with cancer wasn't over and was traveling to Cuba for yet another surgery, his fourth. This time he would not be seen or heard of in public for 2 months, even missing his own presidential inauguration. But even as his life seemed in peril, Chavez was able to spring surprises, flying home in the dead of night in the middle of February and still vowing to win that battle for life.